Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Basscast Radio. I am your host, Brian Carter, and back with us after the new year, Hank the Bass Geek. What's happening, brother? Welcome back after 2023, and it's 2024, everybody. And guys, the season is rolling already. I mean, we've already had already had a college event, the college kids, the high school kids down in Florida. And we had another Major League Fishing event. So I mean, the season is rolling already, and guys, it's showtime.
I'm just gonna find me. I keep telling everybody thinks I'm joking about this. I'm gonna find me a small single wide trailer in Florida, and I'm leaving in November, and I won't be back till March. I'm going down there to fish. They're down there like it's 40 degrees, and I'm like, yeah, short weather.
Yeah. Did you get Did you get snow over there? You didn't get anything of this weather pattern, did you?
Yeah, we got a ton of rain. We've had a little bit of flooding around, but
okay.
Not me. But and then a little dust in the snow this morning. The mountaintops were white.
Oh wow, yeah, the mountain tops here are white as well, and we got a lot. We almost got, I think, from the rain gauge here at Basscast headquarters, guys. You can watch it 24/7 at the basscast.com. We got almost 3 inches of rain here as well. I think 2.79 inches is what we ended up with.
I think they were reporting 4 inches here. It rained pretty dang hard. I had a river running down between my house and the neighbor's house, and there ain't even a creek there. Just yard.
So I feel really bad for my neighbor. And the way his yard, he lives up on a hillside, everybody, and the rain runs through that. And I'm not talking about a little bit of rain. It's a mini river. It's not a creek. It's a river enough where he won't even drive his truck up there. He parks his truck at the bottom of the hill, wades through it, and goes home.
Wow. Down his driveway?
Yes, at the bottom of his driveway.
He's
that bad. Yeah.
Oh, was it slow?
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what happens is it comes down my yard, and I don't know how much affects him, but it comes down through my yard. I got a creek in the backyard when this is all going down. It fills up the neighbor's yard, and then it kind of just swims out to his, but also it's coming off that side of that mountain as well. So the two join, and he gets the brunt of it, unfortunately.
You just gonna have to tell your neighbor he's gonna have to come off some of that cash flow he's got there and put him in a big culvert to go across.
Yeah, no joke. But last year, guys, we're gonna get off this topic. But yeah, last year he put down some gravel, and then he put down some of the mix over top of it to kind of secure the gravel from moving, like he's had to do the last couple of years. So
that stinks.
But yeah, like Geek said, man, we got a lot of rain here, filled up a lot of rivers, a lot of creeks. I mean, it was great, much needed. We didn't need it that fast.
No, that's the problem.
But it was much needed. We got another storm coming through on Friday. I looked at it. We got possible snow coming through here the following week right here in Central Virginia.
I think they're giving some for us maybe Saturday.
So yeah, so it's a lot of weather coming, and that's typical for us around here over the next few months. And then in July and August, we sweat to death and beg for water.
Yeah. I'll be in Raleigh, North Kakalaki come Saturday. So, it'll be shorts weather down there too, I'm sure.
There you go. So I will see. All right. So like you guys said, we said, it's expo time. I will see you on Sunday. I will be down there. If you're going to still be there, I'll be there as well.
Oh, yeah. You're going to be there. That's right. I forgot about that.
So I'm coming down Sunday. Me and my buddy are coming down Sunday. Look forward to seeing everyone at the show. I wanted to have some stickers for everyone. I won't have them till Richmond unless he calls me. But my printer was 2 weeks behind. So that happens. It's my fault. I didn't know he's 2 weeks behind, but it happens. But I will have Basscast stickers and Basscast radio stickers in Richmond at that expo. So look forward to seeing you guys all there. Thank you to everyone who listened to the last episode that we had. Mike Del Visco on there. And then the episode after that I did it before the first cast, and we had on Mr. Harvey Horn was on that. And we just, just kind of talked a little bit of bass fishing. And me and Harvey hit on what was it like to fish the opens. Because Harvey ain't young. I mean, he's a great guy, great angler, fished the elites. You guys all know. I mean, he's had a great history of bass fishing. But it's a different ball game for a lot of these guys with the forward facing sonar, all the kids coming off. We brought up the video games, brought up a lot of stuff like that. So, guys, take 15 minutes, head on over and listen to Before the First Cast. Last but not least, we had a story that broke yesterday on the basscast.com that broke about the Army Corps of Engineering in Pennsylvania. I know we don't cover up there much, but they cut off all permits for the only lake in Pennsylvania. I mean, unless you want to fish after 4:00. And, I don't know all the gist about it 100%. Not going to lie to you guys. I just wrote like a little opinionated column, but we're going to have the gentleman on who broke this story, and I'm going to have him on and talk to him. And that show will drop Monday morning on on Basscast Radio before the first cast. You can listen to it all right there. I'm done, Geek guys, been dropping videos. I'm not lying. We're talking about thousands of views on some of these drops here lately. Lots of great
tens of thousands of views.
Yeah, lots of great content. We're all getting in the fishing mood. Expo time. We're all going to check out some great new gear coming up and get to see everyone. That's what it is for me. It's a family reunion.
And for you basscasters out there, and those of you that are geeks or hopefully future geeks, we just dropped one yesterday that is talking about winter jig fishing. And everybody tells you how to fish, or tells you should fish a jig in the winter, but they don't tell you which one, they don't tell you where, and they don't tell you why. And I put out there my 3 favorite styles of jigs, where I feel like their design performs best, how you can fish them. Got some underwater footage. We've been adding underwater footage of baits in almost every single how-to lately. Listen, I'm super critical of the videos that we do because, I coached football for 13 years. Look what was laying on my keyboard right there for you guys that can't see at home. There's a tiny little treble hook. So if I had to reach up there and hit that cue, I might have come back with a ooh. But anyway, man, I'm super critical. I believe that, in a lot of things in life, perfection is not attainable, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't strive to be perfect. And, I feel like we're putting out some of the best how-tos on YouTube right now. I really feel there is not a better channel of doing pure how-tos than Bass Geek right now.
All right, guys. So we got a commitment from you guys. We need a commitment from you guys. And like you said, the videos are awesome. I watch them myself. I check them out because I give them some feedback. That's what this whole thing's about.
Absolutely.
And we need you to share Basscast channel with all of your friends. That's how it works. Let's get him to 100,000. There's no reason why he should not be sitting at 100,000 right now. I'm not lying to you guys.
And we're doing great. We do giveaways every month.
Yeah.
I can't announce it yet, but we've got a new sponsor for that on board. And that's going to be an interesting. I can't wait to get with them. I don't know if they're going to be in Raleigh or not. I've been meaning to ask them, but my contact's got the Rona, so he's kind of down for the count. But he said he's bouncing back, so he's feeling better.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, man, guys, get out there and check out some of these videos. We've been doing a lot of winter fishing. It's one of my favorite times. Though, I'm a weirdo. My favorite times to fish is the heat of summer and the cold of winter. Favorite times.
Heck yeah.
When everybody else hates it and finds it hard, I'm out there slaying.
That's awesome. So
but
guys,
I stink in the spring and the fall.
maybe one day we'll circle up the horses and get it all together there.
It's kind of an awful tournament angler. All the good tournaments go on in the spring,
That's true. That is true. So guys, make sure you follow Geek and make sure you don't miss the next video. Last thing for me is thank you to everyone that has signed up for our newsletter we brought back this year. Holy cow, thank you so much. I've had 123 people sign up in the last week. And for a newsletter,
Awesome.
yes, for a newsletter, that's awesome. I mean, it really is. That is newsletters and podcast shows are the two hardest things to build. If you ask anybody, I don't
Wow.
care what you are in, it's probably some of the hardest. It is the hardest thing to build. And thank you guys for following the next issue of before the first. No, what did I call it? What the heck? I got to remember what I called it. Daggone thing. On the line. That's it. On the line.
What did I name that?
The next issue of On the Line drops Monday. So make sure you subscribe today. I shared the link the other day, and I'll share it again on Friday. Let's move on. Guys, tonight, Mr. John Soukup is back with us. Guys, he's been on tour the last couple of days. Really appreciate him coming on tonight. Hopefully, you guys head on over and check him out on Bass University. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well tonight. We'll talk about is going back to the NPFL. And, you know, ain't gonna say nothing. Dude had a rough year. You know, when you come, you know, he came off of, and you could say, you know, I mean, the dude holding up 2 freaking plaques, the NPFL taking all the little kids' money.
Yeah.
And his teeth
Went
got
out to
kicked
the
in.
Opens the first year that he fished the Opens, finished his top six qualifies.
Yeah.
For the elites. So, you know.
The man knows what he's doing. And, you know, we don't think, I'll be honest, guys, the dude ain't that old. I mean, what is Soukup, like 25, 30? I mean, he's not that old at all. I mean, he's like a kid. God. So, guys, Mr. John Soukup. Mr. John Soukup, everybody, welcome back to Basscast Radio. How has it been going, man? Guys, if you haven't seen, he's been on world tour. I mean, I have never seen this many videos, and you know, I keep up a lot from Mr. Soukup in quite a while. What you been up to, man?
I just decided to climb out of my hole.
I mean, everybody needs to do that. I mean, I don't blame you.
Yeah,
it's
and
good.
I came out and I came out of my little hole, and the sun was shining on me and got me a little smile back, and ready to share it with the world.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean,
it feels good to have you invite me. Honestly, it feels really good to be back. I've always enjoyed talking with you guys.
You know, everybody. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, guys. I mean, I kind of come out last year at the end of last year. I was a little depressed. I mean, I was really just, you know, it was one of the things where I was kind of mentally, emotionally. Well, no, not last year. The year before last. I apologize. Last year was amazing. The year before last, so I was 22. I was like, just like, I didn't want to see anybody. You know, I thought about shutting the whole website down, just doing the podcast show and just giving it all up. And, you know, I really needed a refresh, a charge. And, you know, going to what we been talking about for the last couple of weeks at expos. I mean, it just get you all charged back up and ready to go. And, you know, you kind of get to see everybody again and you kind of get excited again. Then you're like, all right, we're back at it again. And last year we nailed it. I mean, we had one of the best years ever at the Basscast. So
awesome.
It was an amazing year. So, but yeah, I mean, everybody needs a break every now and again. So,
yeah, I took a 3-month hiatus. I got off social medias for 3 months. And before that, I was a little disconnected, but it wasn't because I wasn't on around. But I dropped my phone in the lake at Lake of the Ozarks. Actually, it just blew out. It went, floop, 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 it just flew out. Like, instead of falling in my lap, it caught wind only like 40 miles an hour. You know, it was like one of those things. It was like, well, and so I took that as like a little cleanse, and I didn't rush back to get one going. And
that's cool, though.
But I knew this year I needed to be at it, so I was kind of charging the batteries, you know, and saying, okay, it's time to get at it. And so we've been back at it and enjoying it, trying to get a little head start on all the boys that are up, you know, playing in the deer woods, and, you know, not focused on doing podcasts. It seems like a good opportunity to talk fishing with everybody, and I love this time of year for fishing. So I'm as charged about the wintertime fishing than anything. I love it way more than summer fishing, for sure.
That's awesome.
We were just talking about that a minute
Yeah.
ago. That's the only time I'm any good is winter and summer when everybody hates it.
Well,
Yeah.
I got a couple layers here that help me stay warm in the winter.
Yeah,
You know, and it
That's
overheat in the summer. So
that's true though. That's true. I'm with you. I've got some of that, extra insulation, kind of naturally occurring.
So, how's little man doing?
oh, dude, he turns 2. What day is it right now?
Golly, that's crazy.
He turns 2 Saturday.
Wow.
That is crazy.
So, I mean, if you guys don't know, I mean, Soukup, how old are you? 30 now?
I'm 29.
29?
I've had this beard since I was 12, so
So, guys, I mean, Soukup is a young dude. I mean, really he is. I mean, with a big family, and I can understand like I said, I understand charging up, spending time with family, with the kids.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of on your plate in the past. I mean, with past businesses and et cetera. But it's glad to see you back out and on the tour again in 2024. And guys, he's fishing 2 tours in 2024. NPFL, heading on back to where it all began, and then the Bassmaster Elite Series. And there's, I think, Zach Burge I saw the other day. He's fishing the NPFL this year for Major League Fishing. So there's going to be some pretty good sticks in that this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of good sticks.
Because a lot of people saw that $100,000 payout and they wanted to take someone else's money away from him. I ain't mentioned this other Bassmaster Elite angler who won a crap load of money at the NPFL, and he's got the same amount of trophies as Mr. Soukup now, if I remember correctly. 2 and 2.
In the same amount of years too. He did it in 2 years, and I didn't too.
Yep.
But he didn't win the first NPFL. And
that
he
is
can
true.
Never win the first NPFL. So there's that. There's that one stat that he'll never be able to beat me on.
The first winner of the first NPFL. Nobody can be that.
Nope.
Only one. Like the Highlander, there can be only one.
So congratulations on that. But yeah, going back to the NPFL, let's talk about that a little bit here. And
let's do that, because I got a little chip on my shoulder about that. You want to know what I got a little chip on my shoulder about?
We're listening.
I've listened to 3 major podcasts and listened to these boys stumble through the list of the elite guys that are fishing the NPFL. And do you know out of 3 how many mentioned John Soukup?
Oh,
yeah, not one.
Are you serious?
Not one. They done forgot about me, Hank. They done forgot about the underdog. They forgot about the underdog.
Dirty.
And they don't remember. They don't remember what it's like when I'm on fire. So I'm gonna get me a little determination. I'm gonna catch me a little fire, and I'm gonna come out. And I'm gonna make me do what those girls say. Say my name. They're gonna be saying my name. They might not say my name now, but they're gonna say my name this year. That's the goal.
John, it was pretty crazy when the list come out and I got the media press release and I was reading through the whole names and saw your name on there. I sent it straight to Geek. I said, "Look who went back home."
Yeah, me and John stay in chat, which John's going to put me in an arm bar because he's I was supposed to have him on twice now, and I don't do the lives very often, but I've had to cancel. Now the second time I had to cancel for good reason. My daughter had my grandson, so I got a bouncing baby boy grandson now, just so everybody knows.
That's awesome.
I got to get him on. We got to get on. But anyway, yeah, we were talking about that before too. Anyway, I've lost train of thought there.
It's
just
all
edit
good.
that part out. I've done.
You got all thinking about that baby.
Yeah, I did. And but John didn't tell me he was even thinking about going. Me and John stay in touch pretty good. He didn't even tell me he was thinking about going back to the NPFL.
Really? So what made you go back home?
Of course, we talk about so much stuff. So yeah, tell us about it. Sorry. I just lost it.
What made me go back? I never wanted to quote unquote leave. You know what? I never wanted to. After qualifying for the elites, I just thought it was the best thing for me to focus on the elites. Mm-hmm. And I did not have a good fishing year last year, and I ended up fishing some extra opens at the end of the season and get back in check. And I just really, after self-evaluation, felt like I needed to fish more, and I needed to fish more at that competitive level. I needed to I needed to make sure that I was iron sharpening iron. Man, you got names like Patrick Walters, Drew Cook, Kyle Welcher. I mean, these are guys, and obviously the guys that are in the PFL guys that are over there that I look up to as well.
Yeah.
You know, Todd Goad having such a great season last year.
Yes, he did.
And Timmy Reams is always super consistent. And I mean, there's a bunch of them over there that are really good. I mean, you got some of your old school guys like a Dan Blacker that people, you know, kind of fly under the radar, but the guy can catch them really well. So, you know, if you're going to go out there and you want to get better, you need to go practice and play against the best that you possibly can. And so that's what it's all about. It's about that. And then on the business side, it's about, you know, the exposure to my sponsors and things of that nature. So those are the two factors. But number one being, if I only focus on the elites, I feel like I hyper focus. And when I'm hyper focused, then ahead of time, then I start getting the anxiety. I start, you know, rigging my rods 20 different times. Now I got 100 different baits ready to go. And and in practice, I'm just not as good when I hyper focus. So when I allow myself to just more or less show up with the few tools that I know, like the old school, you know, jackpot, when you just show up with the 3 rods, that's all you need, 3 rods and the 3 baits, I fish a lot better. And so I'm kind of putting myself in those conditions where, for example, NPFL, I am choosing to not pre-practice any event. And it's 100% intentional. I want to force myself to show up, fish the moment, find the fish in practice, and keep that uncomfortableness inside. You know, that uncomfortableness. Getting comfortable with the uncomfortableness is what I want to do.
That's awesome right there. But you know, the NPFL has changed a little bit since you left. I mean, it's changed for the better, though. I mean, we got the championship.
I'm on a podcast. What?
They're likely just testing it because they're draining all the water out of the pipes.
So I was talking, the NPFL's changed a little bit since you left, man. I mean, you know, we got $100,000 payout now. They brought the championship back. So it's a lot of stuff going on for the good. Did, you know, kind of some of that kind of persuade you to go back a little bit, or, you know, because, you know, when you left, I mean, you were, you know, everybody says you weren't the spokesmodel for the NPFL, but you kind of were. I mean, you're the guy, the young guy that everybody looked up to. John's a big hammer, big stick with a great personality. And, you know, a lot of the guys looked up to you. I mean.
Yeah, well, that's because I'm 6'5".
Okay.
But also, I look good like Michael Jordan in briefs. So, you know, you gotta have a guy that looks good in briefs if you want to be a spokesmodel, right?
Yes.
It's not the money for me. It's not the money. It's not the money. I'll just say that it's not the money. Listen, I know a little bit better math than most teenagers, but maybe not better than most single moms or moms in general. How about that? That are doing their grocery shopping. So maybe I'm right in the middle between like a teenager and like a mom. That's where my math level is at. And if you look at the math, the return on your investment's not really there at the NPFL level. Now, if you hit and strike, you know, lightning and you win, okay,
right.
But you know, I've only done that twice out of the 2 years that I fished there, and I realized that those were blessings, you know, and that doesn't happen all the time. So, what is it for me? Yes, I want to be a part of a championship. I worked really hard those 2 years. I fought for the NPFL. I did everything I could to be a support. I know what it's like to be an entrepreneur and start your own business and to risk things. And the ownership group over there, I'm jealous in a good way that I'm not a part of the first championship that they're going to have. And I want to have a championship in the NPFL. I want to shake those guys' hands, and I want to be a part of that experience. So it's the closest thing we're going to have right now in the first 2 years in NPFL. If I can make it next following year to the beginning of like BASS. You know, it's like what other trails have there been that have been this big that you can be a part of the start of and be a name like someone will be a Bobby Murray, right? Someone's going to be the first champion,
right?
Yeah,
it's not going to be me. I won't be there, but I'd like to be in that second championship.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said right there. You put your time in, and you really did the first couple of years. And you know, you
absolutely.
I kind of, you know, you kind of like the captain. I mean, you really were. You were the guy who carried a lot of it on your shoulders, on your back yourself. when it did go to crap the first time, and everything kind of went down, and championship got canceled, and the whole 9 yards. But I mean, it's made a successful turnaround. We've had a lot of the guys on from the NPFL. We love talking to all the NPFL anglers because they're hungry. They love fishing, and they love the setup, and they love what they do at the NPFL and how it's run as a family organization, and it still has that family feel, not a, like everybody keeps saying, a business feel. It's a family field, and that's the whole thing. And that's the whole thing about bass fishing, to be honest, guys. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's the whole thing is a daggone family thing. I mean, it really is. We're all one big happy family, even though we squabble and fight a little bit over a tournament, and we're still a big happy family because at the end of the day, we're all chasing big green bass. That's it.
Yeah, the camaraderie, the club level camaraderie, you don't realize how much you love it and miss it until you don't have it anymore. And you keep working your way up the ladder, and the more you get to the national level, the more isolated you get, the more there is no buddies, the more guys are more cutthroat, and it's not as fun, and it's not a friendly environment the same way. And so you do miss that, and you are absolutely right. I do get to enjoy that back in the NPFL. I do have a couple buddies that I've roomed with in the past that that we've always got along, been able to share, comfortably sit down and joke, talk fishing, talk in honesty about fishing with each other. We don't pry too much, but we also do tell each other the truth, and it's a really a stress relief kind of therapeutic kind of environment.
Right.
And, to your point, man, about the first 2 years being a little bit of the taking on a little bit of the burden of representing the NPFL, man. I don't know, the people that weren't involved really don't understand the amount of flack I got, dude. I got hammered. People thought I was getting all sorts of dirty messages, and like people thought that I was an actual owner in the NPFL. They really did. They thought, and I would tell people no, because no one knew who the secret owner was. He hadn't came out yet.
Yeah,
like, what I mean? I was like, no, it's not me. But I fought for them like they were.
Yeah.
And so listen, man, there was a bunch of, dude, it created all. I mean, dude, just anytime you have success, you're gonna have jealousy, people and spreading lies, and you're gonna have so my end of my second season, it kind of ended with a little bit of bitter taste in my mouth towards some of that stuff, and when that happens, I thought, well, we just go on the Bassmasters thing and then right off in the sunset. But it didn't take very long, man. I mean, I was leaving the last event in the NPFL, which we were down in Florida at Toho.
Yeah.
And I was just full of frustration that I wasn't going to be able to be back there the next year. And I actually tried to get back in last year, and the schedules didn't come out in time.
Right.
And by the time that I could kind of commit to being able to do it, they didn't let me back in. They said the time frame had kind of elapsed, and they felt like if they let me in, it'd be showing special treatment or something.
Yeah, I understand that.
So they didn't let me in.
Yeah, because Soukup, we had Ken on, Ken May out. I always say his last name wrong, because he was, everybody said the same thing about him, and we brought that up, and we really did compare. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you, we really did compare, because Ken, the Wild Wild West series, when it went to crap, right after everybody ran off with all the daggone money and whatever happened out there with that series, and it all went to poop. They were coming after Ken because Ken was fighting for the Wild Wild West series and everything that they had going. They had the kayak series, the major, they had 3 different levels of fishing out there that they had organized and put together, had a championship. After that, it was over. It's gone.
Yeah, I think when you have the success that I had in the first event, third event, and then I saw it put $100,000 in my pocket because I only got paid $50,000 for those events.
Yeah.
So $100,000. I think I finished the season with, I don't know what it was, 150,000 or something. Maybe it was 180, somewhere in that range that I finished with at the end of the year. That's all good, really great. The sponsorships start coming. You start able to feel yourself established. You build in confidence. That's what gave me the confidence to go fish the 9 opens the next year and qualify for the elites. Was through all that experience, and you really, 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 to probably Ken's point, if he was sitting with us talking, it's you just appreciate it so much that you're not only fighting for yourself for it, but you're fighting for that guy that's also going to have that next opportunity next year, be that next guy. and experience those. Like the second year, that next guy was Taylor Watkins, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Popping off the wins that he popped off, and the way that he was able to reap those rewards. And so, that's what I was fighting for. Was I'm a working man. I've had my own businesses. I've always been somewhat of an entrepreneur where I do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a tile setter and a contractor. So, literally blood, sweat, and tears, nights, weekends, holidays, working, no excuses kind of guy. And so I wouldn't have had an opportunity to fish at this national level if it wasn't for the way the NPFL has it set up. And that's what makes majority of the league is those guys. They're not out there saying we are the best, blah blah, beating their chest. We're better than the Bassmaster Elite. I don't ever hear that or see that that attitude at all. You see a bunch of guys that are super thankful to fish at that level, and guess what? Because they're out there competing, they are getting good. They are getting better, and they are able to beat a lot of these local sticks. And so they're filling their oats. They're getting better.
Right.
And
Right.
I think. And so you'll see, like what we saw, the first year we saw myself and David Gaston and Brian Smith go over to the elites. Those two have teared it up. They both made it to qualified for the classic their first year. Of course, I bombed last year, but I think there'll be more. There'll be more guys that are gonna utilize that to reach the highest level.
And you brought up Taylor Watkins a minute ago, and you guys all know, you saw his video. Hopefully, you all saw his video. He won't be fishing in 2024.
Yeah.
I guess he's going to, spend more time with a mega custom tackle and, work on that. But yeah, he won't be fishing anything in 2024. So, I did see a video the other day of him at an expo. So he's out there hitting the expos and pushing the weighers is what my old man used to say. Let's turn a little bit here and Bassmaster Elite season 2023. Yes, you had a rough year. It was, it's new group, new organization, but you brought up a topic earlier, and it's a big topic that I've dealt with here, talking to so many different anglers, and that is being lonely and feeling that part of not having that. I mean, there's, of not having that support group that you were talking about that you had at the NPFL. And, there's a couple different guys that I know personally who don't have the support group either. And, it's a mind game. I mean, it slowly just fucks you up. Sorry, not sorry. But I mean, because you're on the road, you run in between tournaments. And
it's a tightrope, the finances, especially your first year, it's such a tightrope, and the margin of success and having a bad year, a good and bad years is so much. And then that every dollar counts, every position counts. And it's like John said, it's a little more cutthroat at that area, because it's one position might mean you got the money to fish next year, and it might mean you don't, when it comes down to it. And, that's tough. It's crazy tough. The stress those guys are under.
How are you able to handle 2023?
I didn't handle 23 very well. I mean, it was a lot of lessons learned. It was a lot of end of the year evaluating my life and figuring out how I should handle things better, which it took me a while to kind of get the right mindset and realize the lessons that I need to learn as a person, as a man, as a father, as a representative of my sponsors, as wanting to keep my sanity and my focus, as wanting to be a competitor, like all those things together. So, what you don't see or feel that you don't understand until you get there is there's a lot of politics in the fishing game, and it sucks, man. I hate it. And what sucks about it is I look back and I'm like, well, listen, I had my own brand that I was building and I was pushing, and I played the politic game too a lot of times because I was paying people to represent me, and I really wanted them to only represent me, and so I understand it. But dude, I just hate the way it develops. You know what I mean? Like literally, you got little cliques of guys that are sponsored by little groups, and if they feel like you're have any kind of chance of like getting a sponsorship with their team or taking some of their money, they'll just not talk right about you or not talk to you.
Wow.
And there's just a lot of that stuff that goes on now. Like once they get their little cliques and they've I think there's going to be a different if John Soukup goes in and plays how he can play next year. And I threw some really some good landing, some good punches. There probably is going to be a little bit of different respect. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I think for the most part, the feeling that you get now, listen, this is not everybody, and this isn't fair to everybody.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? This isn't but there's some really great guys too. Like, you know what I mean? There's some really great guys. But for the most part, people are so used to kind of keeping it themselves and not being able, because you don't know how that other person's going to react. You don't have a lot of interaction time with any of the anglers to really get to know them, unless you go up and invite someone to go to dinner or something like that. It's just,
Right.
you know, the way that it's set up, there is no meetings beforehand. There's one meeting at the beginning of the year. There's no meetings before the tournament. When you go into your bag line, you're in groups, and your first group, you follow them around for the first 4 events or 5 events, whatever it is. And so it's only those 25 guys every single time. And then the second part of the year, it's another group of guys. And so, and some of those guys are the same guys that were in your group. So you're just not around a whole lot of people. And I think that, you know, a lot of these guys have settled into their little teams, and they really don't care if you're the one that they come and they munch up and spit you out. And then they want a revolving door of those new 10 guys, these guys that don't actually land. They don't care.
Right.
They want their sponsorships to be good. They want to be the one catching the fish. And it's just a different mentality, a different way, like a lot of isolation stuff. And I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of guys that will come on here and say, man, I've made tons of friends on the elites and stuff like that. But I think if those guys say that, those are guys that probably either had extreme success. And what you learn about that is extreme success attracts all sorts of friends that are they really your friends or not?
Yeah.
Let's go see what happens when you hit the bottom, if they stay your friends or not.
Yep.
Or
100%.
or they just haven't been there for very long. Or like the guys that have made friends, they've been there for a long time, and so they've made 2 or 3 good friends this year, 2 or 3, you know, the next year. So they've slow built a group of them. So that is one of the hardest sides of things. And now I've talked to some people that are kind of have adopted this loner mentality, and they've had some success on it. I've talked to them about it, and you know, pretty much they're like, yeah, man, if you want to have the success you need to have, you got to learn how to do it. And this is just how it is, man. It's a little bit lonelier of a lifestyle.
Where what did you find, you know, them long roads, long trips, you know, talking to the wife? I mean, was there a way that Soukup kind of dealt with 2023? I mean, because like I said, I mean, people understand, you know, there's a couple tournaments are maybe an hour or 2 away, but for the rest of them, it's some long trips and long roads by yourself, and you know, dealing with that mindset, and you got to be ready for the next one. How did you handle it, Soukup?
Man, I didn't. Like I said, I didn't handle 2023 very well. I mean, I put my head down and drove to the next event, and I really never turned on the competitor inside me. I had a lot of things going on outside of on the water that were affecting my life negatively, and it just continued to rain different trials, and deep down, I was doing my best to become the man that I felt like I needed to be as a Christian, and some of it was a struggle. And because it was such a struggle, I kind of kept more to myself because I felt like I wasn't dealing with these things wrong, and I was about to explode onto the next person. You know, there was a guy that cut me off in a creek in one of the tournaments and told me that I can't fish the left side, the right side, the front side, or the back side. I had to wait for him to fish it. And typically, if it's John the competitor, I can still put a smile on my face. I realize what he's doing, trying to bully me, and I'm just gonna fish and whatever. He can throw his little fit or whatever. But this John, he doesn't realize it. He knows who he is. If we were to talk face to face right now, he knows who it is. He may think that he pushed me and bullied me. Well, he did for that certain event, but he didn't really. I mean, actually, I was pretty much saving his life from jumping, because I was at a point like I couldn't tell the difference between a little confrontation like that and some serious things that were going on in my life. And like controlling that emotion. So what I did last year, which wasn't fully the healthy side of things, this is what I had to work through towards the end, is I took that competitive thing and I just shoved it down, and I never turned it on. I showed up at these events. I didn't have the right mindset.
Just kind of went through just kind of walked through them.
I walked through the motions. I did things that I knew I shouldn't have been doing the whole time. I had that voice in my head, like saying, "You know better than this. You know better than this. You know better than this." Like, but I just keep on fishing, just la di da da da. And that's the one thing that I learned on the Elite Series is you can't la di da di da on the Elite Series, man. No. They will spit you up and chew you out. They are the greatest fishermen on earth. I mean, dude, I look back at some of my videos this year. I still caught like a dozen 6 to 7 pounders in the elites. Like, people, like, I'll show you all sorts of videos of me catching 6 and 7.
Yeah.
I mean, some of my weights weren't necessarily that bad, but when you get up against, because in the past, like, you know, listen, man, I mean, at lower levels, him haul around a little bit and come in with a decent sack, but not the greatest sack, and then I can make it up the next day. NPFL, you got 3 days, no matter what. You can make up a third day.
Correct.
The Elites,
Correct.
you only got 2 days. You him haul around on the first day, and you are not even going to be able to make it, and you're not going to make it to the third day, just by the second day. So like, they are very impressive as competitors in the bass fishing world. It is the most competitive thing I've ever seen. I am extremely proud to be a part of it, and I want another shot, and I'm glad I got another shot. But it is my last shot if I don't make it. If I don't turn it on next year, if I don't finish 70th or above, I'm out.
Right.
Start over.
So I mean, I guess what I'm kind of hitting at, John, did you do any counseling at the end of the season last year? Confide in the family, or because a lot of people handle that stuff differently. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, at the end of the year, you're a firecracker. I mean, and that just happens. I mean, but was there something that kind of when you cut off social media, you said you cut off that, and you just got away from life, and you got away from, I don't know if you got away from fishing, but because we've seen some big photos, some big bass you posted the last couple of weeks. But I mean, was there something that you aha moment, or
Man, we talked about my age. I said I was 29. We're joking, right? I'm about to be 42 years old. I'm 41 years old. I've been married for 20 years. Had our 20th anniversary. I've got 4 kids. I've been through multiple life and deaths in the family. I've taken care of all sorts of people, and we've been through a lot of different hardships in life, and especially at a young age, especially at a really young age. When I was younger, it seemed like, you found the button, you felt like, okay, I'm just going to turn this thing around, right? And you turned around, you're like full energy, and then I don't know, something about getting older and having all these different responsibilities that are part of things, that it makes it harder to get out of a rut when you get in a rut.
Right.
And for me, I did have a great support system at home that cares about me. I didn't have to ever worry about anything in the home life. I can't even imagine if I would have dealt with some home life stuff. My wife and my kids, and that I got like one of the most loving families that you've ever been around, man. My job when I go home is to go sit down and get out of the way and don't screw anything up. Just let my wife and my kids be beautiful people and be like, just sit there like that. Don't move. Don't mess this thing up.
Don't get in their way. So
yeah. They're teaching me how to love and how to be. I wasn't grown up with that kind of environment to have a loving family. And so it's a unique thing to learn, and it's one of the reasons why I fell in love with the family that I have to begin with, my wife and her family. But I took solace in that, and I got back to the roots of needing to focus on myself personally, like my faith, and like, listen, there's different levels of integrity in life, and there's the legal law, which is not necessarily built off integrity.
Right. Right.
Like there's some laws that are like, this is not integrity at all. So that makes it look like everything's fair. All right. And then you got just, man to man, the way we treat each other. And there's some integrity or non-integrity there, but it's not always necessarily fair. Like, for example, if I come at you and I just attack you right now, right, for no apparent reason, and then you attack back, you're like, well, John deserved it because he came at me and did all these things. Right. So he did this 90%, and I just did the 10%. Well, he started, well, I just finished it. So there's that, right? All right. Yeah. So you kind of feel like, okay, you're justified in having some harsh feelings towards someone that's attacked you. All right. So that right there, though, you got to be careful with that, because that right there, being justified in, if you do react in a way that's not correct, it will carry you down a road and a path that isn't becoming of who I feel like I need to be. And when you're challenging your integrity and your consciousness all the time, you stumble, man. And like, the things in life don't matter. And then, like, I came from a past that I don't want to go back to. And and you feel all that stuff kind of coming back, and you're like, man, this isn't, so you got to get a hold of yourself. And so the third layer, man, is the spiritual side, right? So like, here's the deal. We're all sinners. We all come short. My one sin, right over here, I can sit there and justify and say, oh, well, he started, so I barely finished it, right? And this guy's I can see all these bad sins, all this over here built up. But when on the scale of justice with God, man, they're the same weight. And so it's hard to keep your mind, if you let your ego come forward and be in charge of everything. You'll not see that. You'll be blinded to that. to that fact, and to understand that, like, to receive mercy and grace and to be able to bring that onto yourself and forgiveness for what is a flaw, you have to extend that to people as well. And that is, it's not easy all the time, and it's a challenge sometimes, and sometimes you have to go through the motions doing the right thing, internally fighting, you know what I mean, fighting, saying this isn't like, everything inside of you wants to do something different, but you got to do. And so that was a lot of some of the rut and stuff that you know, that I was in last year, is how do I get myself back to where I can do the right thing with a smile on my face and out of joy, and not just out of, I got to do this because it's the right thing.
Right.
And so I literally, I think maybe I can answer your question better 3 years from now, maybe.
Okay.
You know, like I literally feel like I had to just ride the rut out. You know what I mean? Like, every time I tried to overcorrect, there was a couple times I did, it would get into my fishing. And I'll give you an example. I was on the Sabine River, and I'd already had kind of a rough year. And so I'm dealing with all these emotions and different things, man. I had a couple aunts die. I had an uncle die. I had a nephew that's 21 years old fall off a roof, died. My niece that lived with us, is I feel like she's a daughter of mine. She had a stillborn child, and she got really sick. And you know, listen, I had a tornado hit 13 of my dang houses. I'm not even talking about the business stuff that everybody knows about or doesn't know about, that I don't even want to talk about, switching businesses after building a brand and having to start over again. It was just an onslaught of different things. And so those things come into your life. There's a scripture that says the Lord has his way in a whirlwind, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. And what that means is, like, you know, all this stuff, you wonder to yourself, why me? What have I done wrong? Or, you know, blah, blah, blah. And you can get really chaotic, and you can get confused. But the truth is, the Lord has his way in a whirlwind. The year last year was a whirlwind, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He's got something that he's building, he's planning, and all of our job to do is just to trust and obey, follow the rules that you know to follow, right? And just trust that he's got something planned for you on the other side. And maybe it's not prosperity, maybe it's not winning a tournament, maybe it's not becoming the wealthiest guy in the world, maybe, but if I can get across that line and see his face in peace, I've won, right? And that's
awesome.
And so but how does that connect to fishing, right? How does it all connect to fishing? When you're in the middle of that turmoil and that struggle, and you're keeping to yourself. I chose to keep to myself, which wasn't necessarily the best thing for me personally. It was good for others that I didn't just vomit all that junk and garbage, because I couldn't express it in a way that didn't come across like I was bitter or like full of, you know, like I couldn't express it. So I got on the water at Sabine, and I thought to myself, when we're talking about in that rut, don't overcorrect. Listen to what went through my mind. This is the wrong mentality as a fisherman. Do not do this. Make small corrections. Do not overcorrect. This is one thing I've been learning, and I'm trying to focus on. I told myself, if I didn't win the Sabine, it didn't matter. Nothing else mattered at this point. The only thing that was going to turn my season around, mathematically, I felt like I was out of it. I was already at the bottom. I needed to win, or it didn't matter. So I found 2 areas where there was 3-pounders in, and one was a long way, one was short. Long story short, went to those. They didn't bite. The river themselves, I could go on the river and flip, and I could get 7 pounds a day, easy. It was my style of fishing. It was the way I've spent 20 years fishing. I know exactly how to do it. I enjoy doing it that way. I like fishing that way, but I knew that I was fishing for like a 40th place finish. I knew that, right? Maybe I get lucky and catch a 2 or 3, and I jump into the top 30 or something like it. But I knew that I could do that. I 100% knew, and with confidence, and the right kind of confidence that you need to have going into day one. And I chose to ignore that and say, nope, I'm going to risk it all and go for this. And dude, and that is not how. You might do it for the first hour or two, but you better go back the rest of your day, put those fish in your boat, and once you put those fish, go try it again a little bit. You need to mix it, match it, you know?
Yeah.
But you can't just say, hey, I'm all in on this. Oh, it didn't land on black. Okay, I'm out, and walk away. And I did that at Sabine. I 100% did that at Sabine, and that was the bottom. And I felt so low that I didn't even weigh in on day 2. I didn't even go across stage. I just left.
Wow.
And honestly, that was so not my character at all of a person. And I just sat there and I had my own like out of body experience, looking at myself, being like, where are you at? You know, what are you doing? What are you doing with life? And so I had to I had to really analyze myself, but start at that moment. Say, okay, hey, it's time to repair, and I tried to not overcorrect again and just kind of keep it on track. And really, it wasn't like the next event I tore it up, and it wasn't like the week after that. The next event after that, I tore it up. I really didn't tear it up again, but I started getting a little bit more competitive at the last,
Yeah.
2 or 3 events. The last event at St. Lawrence, I ended up, I had 21 pounds on the last day and ended up just below the 50 cut, 19
Yeah.
on the first day. I risked a little bit on the first day to go out into some try. I'd never experienced fishing out in the big waves.
Yeah.
And I decided to do it because I thought maybe it would turn the big fish on.
Right.
Well, I just didn't realize factor the time commitment that it was just going to burn you your day. I caught fish, but literally the ones that were bigger and biting, they weren't out there where I thought they'd be. And so I didn't have enough time to go. So I got what I could for that day, which was 19. I made my adjustments based on day 2, what I saw from day 1, and I came in with 21 pounds. And by the end of the second day, I was starting to figure them out. I caught a couple of 6s, and I had a couple more that were. I had caught one big 6, one big 5, and then I had a couple more that were nipping at my bait. And I mean, they were big ones. And I was like, man, I'm about to. And then boom, my tournament was done. But if I had made it to day 3, I believe you would have seen me have a 23-pound sack on day 3 by the way I was growing. And so I used that instead of looking back at the season and saying, okay, this was negative. No, I'm going back up. I got my trajectories going back up. My fishing mind's going back up. I'm falling back in love with fishing. I'm trusting myself more. And then I enrolled in the rest of the opens.
Yeah.
And I tried to adjust and apply some of my basic standards that I've applied over the last 10 years of fishing that I've learned to rely on as a fisherman. And I reapplied some of those basics, and I ended up having 2 top 10s out of the last, I think, 4 opens. I had 2 top 10s.
Yep.
That's
and
awesome.
ended the year on Bassmaster Live on Fox Sports, at Harris Chain. And so it ended the season right, man. And not only did it end it right, but my heart and mind was in the right place too. So it just feels like for me, that's the focus point. That's what I've been working on. Going into the off season, I haven't been doing a lot of fishing. You've seen some teasing. I've caught a few choice trips where I knew I was going to smash them, but I've been really building business. I've been building my business. I'm starting my new brand, Save More Outdoors, working hard to get that thing off the ground. And that way, when I go fishing, I'm not worried about what's going on back at home, because I know that could be a large distraction next year if it's not running right.
Yeah. Let's talk about that real quick, guys. That was awesome, by the way. Soukup, man, we've interviewed, we've talked a whole lot pretty much since the first time we met you, first win you ever had. And it seems like you've grown so much. And
yeah,
I mean, that was, good God, I just want to sit back and listen. So pretty freaking awesome. You should take it on tour, to be honest. I mean, that should be taught to a lot of kids. I mean, it really, really should. So that was pretty awesome right there. But
I wish I could say I'm some kind of genius, but that's 41 lessons of hard knock life right there.
It is. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Title of your book.
But before you go here real quick, let's talk about the hats on top of your head. And, you did say you started something new, and talk to us about that for a couple minutes here, and then we're going to roll out. But yeah, talk to us about that, man.
We're doing an overstock item outdoor store.
Okay.
Right. So we got a big warehouse full of overstock items, some liquidated items as well. I acquired a bunch of fishing tackle because I'm a fishing tackle nut. So we got a whole bunch of fishing tackle, and we're using that opportunity to start the website and get things going. But like recently we acquired a truckload of Black Rifle coffee. You can order Black Rifle coffee right me. It's not on the website, by the way, because we didn't know whether that was right or not with them with the relationship. We didn't want to hurt anything, but like you can message us, Save More Outdoors, info at Save More Outdoors if you want Black Rifle coffee, RTDs. You will cry when you hear the price. We can send you pallets of those, right? I got bunches of hats that I'm about to have, bunches and bunches of hats. Everything that we're doing is going to be at really reduced prices. So for the tackle guys, we got spinner baits and jigs and crankbaits and plastics and crappie jigs and everything that you could want. We got an 8,000 square foot warehouse stacked full from bottom to top, full of all your favorite baits. Like it's there to be had. But we're able to give it to you guys at wholesale pricing to the standard consumer. But guess what? It gets even better. Okay. I'm not trying to have a big corporation that has a bunch of overhead and that I have tons of people in a warehouse fill-in retail. So I'm really working towards, and this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at right now in the business. I haven't started making all the phone calls I need to make, but we are set up to be a distributor and a wholesaler as well.
Okay.
So everybody that's out there that has tackle stores, and if you're a bait and tackle store, if you're a gas station with tackle, any kind of outdoor store, even if you're not a fishing tackle, but you're an outdoor store, you're going to want to get signed up with us. You can go to Save More Outdoors, go to the bottom right-hand corner, go to wholesale, and sign up with us and get on the newsletter. And when we have these deals that come through that are once-in-a-lifetime deals, and I'm telling you, they're once-in-a-lifetime deals, that's what we're digging hard. We've made the network and the relationships to get these deals. They're unbeatable deals. We're going to be able to pass prices on to you that you can pass on to your consumers, and always have bargain bin deals and opportunities. So like whoever your favorite dealer is of any kind, let them know about us, and we can help them save their consumers money and actually help them make even more money. There's better margins on our stuff than they can buy anywhere.
Wow. All right. You guys heard it right here. Soukup, man, always, we really appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you for being a part of the basscast.com. And like I said, you've been on many, many times. Really, really appreciate you. I ain't gonna lie, this is probably one of the best shows we ever had with you, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, just,
yeah.
But I mean, because every kid needs to hear this show, because it really is what it is. I mean, it's, we talk about the glitz, we talk about the glamour. You see the stage, you see him up on stage at the Bassmaster Classic. But I had a Forestwood Cup guy stay at my house and slept in the back of his truck, guys. I mean, and at that time, Forestwood Cup paid a whole lot of money, and he slept in the back of his truck. So, I mean, it's a rough life for probably a third or to half the anglers out there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say that it's
for the first year or two.
For 2/3 have been through it at some point in their life, if not more. Even the guys that are doing good now, they started out these same stories.
Yeah.
Guys, we'll be right back. Again, appreciate you, Mr. Soukup. Man, we really appreciate Mr. Soukup coming on and talking with us tonight. Guys,
we do.
I ain't gonna lie. I mean, me and Geek were talking about this, and it's been a big growth. It's a different John Soukup. It really is, from the first John Soukup that we met. Holy cow, 3 years ago now, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a different Soukup. Guys, you better be ready and better be watching him. I mean, Soukup knows what he's doing. He really does. I mean, he just had a rough year like everybody has.
Yeah.
But
you heard, all the stuff outside. I mean, I couldn't imagine.
No.
Like I probably would have been like, hell, it's been a bad year. I'm packing my shit and going to the house.
Yes.
Yes.
But he finished the year out.
Yeah.
And that's kudos for him on that. Because like Geek said, I'd have just said the hell with the damn money. I haven't done well so far.
All the stuff
I've already paid my $5,000. Why waste more money on gas, fuel, food, etc.? But he had it in him to finish the whole entire year out. So kudos to him on that. But guys, make sure you're following him, following the journey for Mr. Soukup. And 2024, it's going to be a great year for him. And we're excited to see him back at the NPFL. Guys, me and Geek both watch NPFL. I don't catch every single day. I don't catch every single day of all of it because we're still working. Did I hear that? We're still working.
Yep, still making the man money.
Because I have a dream of a building in my backyard with some TV in it where I can watch bass fishing every single day, 24/7, keep up with what's happening. But we're not there yet. So we catch the weekends. We know what happens on the end, and we bring on a guest and we talk to them about their event or whatever is going on in their life. And we love doing that here at Basscast Radio. So appreciate you guys all listening. Before we go, guys, the show's not free. We've been bringing this up for a while. Please head on over and hit the YouTube button, as well as if you're just a podcast listener, subscribe to us wherever you subscribe to podcasts. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for being a part of Basscast Radio. How long have we been doing this together, Geek? Me and you, 3 years, 4 years?
Well, I think this is going on. No, I think this is just our third. Right?
Third?
I don't know. I can't count. I'm a redneck hillbilly.
It's all good. No, we're
plus I only got 19 digits. I lost a big toe, so I ain't got enough to count.
So I mean, it's 2024. The season has just begun. The Basscast is wide open. Thank you guys all for subscribing to the newsletter. Like I said earlier, We're going to make it a bi-weekly for now. And if you guys keep subscribing, I think I've decided if we get 500 subscribers, I'll go to weekly. And we're not far away from that now. So I think we're about 75 subscribers away from that. So, if you want to see us go weekly, that's what it's going to take. Because I really want to bring some people on because I love doing newsletters. And I was an editor of my yearbook in high school. And I love putting information together. And that's what I love doing. So, I mean, there you guys go. But thank you. Thank you for being a part of Basscast Radio. Guys, we're all going to expos this weekend. We hope to see you down in North Carolina. I'm going Sunday because I want to get there a little bit before church let out so I can get some great video and some great content before everyone else shows up. And then I will have some stickers, and I know I've got some stuff to pass out. And I'll probably be hanging out with Geek as well in wherever Geek's going to be. So, Geek, what booth are you going to be in real quick?
I don't even know if there's a Camus boat there. I'll be there, and of course, I'll be walking around too. So I'm working with Camus down there, and there's a couple of dealers that's going to be down there. So we'll probably be bouncing back and forth.
So Geek's going to be in a back room, by the way, guys. It won't be the tackle room; it'll be the back room. But because the back room is huge.
I've been in the back room my whole life. If you know,
the back room is huge. That's where all the big old boats are, and I'm talking about saltwater boats. I mean, they have it all. I mean, this room is full of boats.
Yeah, Raleigh is a salt and freshwater expo.
It is, yes. And I grew up saltwater fishing, guys, so I love it as well because that's what I started doing. Grandfather did it, my dad did it, my mom did it, my grandmother did it. Everybody in my family has saltwater fished, at least for a little bit, and I loved it, and that's how I grew up fishing. So
I gargled saltwater when I had a sore throat. That's close as I got.
You guys have a great night. We will see you all next week right here on Basscast Radio. Have a great week, everyone. Be safe out there. We'll be talking to you soon.